Hello and a very warm welcome to my channel. Tonight, we give you a piece of breaking news from Woman's Day magazine: secret plan to rescue Archie from the stubborn Meghan and Harry. The concerned royals are planning a secret trip to the US to bring back their precious grandson and escape from Los Angeles. In between posting breezy videos about gardening and openly discussing his COVID-19 symptoms with the world, Prince Charles has been discussing a trip so secret that even London's top protection officers are said to be unaware of his plan. Woman's Day understands that the 71-year-old future king and his wife, the Duchess of Cornwall, 72, have been privately discussing ways to gently convince Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan to bring their 13-month-old son Archie back to England from their new home in Los Angeles, where he can spend time with his loving family and escape the coronavirus pandemic that's raging in the US. And our high-ranking source reveals, if they don't give in to Prince Charles' request, he and Camilla are thinking they may go as far as personally going to Los Angeles to try and convince them to let Archie return to London to be with his family. It seems rash, but Charles has had the virus and feels safe to travel. And nothing is more worth the risk than his own flesh and blood. They don't even want to tell their protection detail what they're up to. This is purely a time for family only. Woman's Day has been told the spark behind their drastic action comes after watching the US fall apart at the seams under the weight of the pandemic, followed by the Black Lives Matter protests and fears that the upcoming presidential election in November will only spark further unrest. A source says Charles and Camilla have had a lot more time to sit and watch the news since they've been in isolation, and what's going on over there worries them greatly. They're worried that Meghan and Harry aren't fully protected in their new Los Angeles mansion and have a security detail that isn't used to working with the royal family. Charles can't help worrying about Archie, and he'd feel a lot more reassured if he was in England with his grandparents. Poignantly, just last week Charles spoke of his heartbreak over not being able to see Archie in an interview with UK Sky News journalist Rhiannon Mills, who Harry has clashed with in recent years. He says, "I haven't seen my father, Prince Philip, for a long time. He's going to be 99 next week, or my grandchildren or anything. I've been doing FaceTime, it is all very well, but fortunately, you can speak to family and friends on telephones and occasionally do this sort of thing. But it isn't the same, is it? You really want to give people a hug." With the way things have been between Harry, Meghan and the royal family, Charles' hopes of hugging his grandson anytime soon are fading, unless he stages his own intervention. Our source says, Harry's proved his point, he's somewhat free and living his own life, but Charles can't believe he is being so stubborn as to stay in Hollywood. Harry and Meghan are already moaning about the paparazzi and security breaches, and last week they were complaining about being dive-bombed by drones for goodness sake. They'd like to believe it was just nosy fans sending in their cameras for a look, but really anyone could be behind it. Back in the UK, they have so many laws in place, people can't get near the royals and especially their children. Insiders say Camilla is on board with accompanying her husband on a secret trip to Los Angeles where they hope to get Harry seeing sense. A source says, Camilla does thrive on the drama of course, but she also sees Charles' point: no one, except for perhaps Charles, would be able to convince Harry to come home, or at the very least, allow them to take Archie for the UK summer while the tense situation in the US simmers down. Charles feels he has to at least try, or he's failed in his duty as a grandpa, and he'd hate that. With me, I want to talk about Prince Charles. First, would imagine several emotions are flooding through him. Unhappiness, relief, regret, apprehension. I think he's unhappy to have his son and grandson so far away during a time that the baby is turning into a toddler and learning to talk. That time is so delightful, and can only be experienced once. How long has it been since he's seen Archie? Not since December or January. Meghan kept him in Canada when she sent Harry alone to deal with the fallout of their Instagram resignation. She left him in Canada when they did their farewell engagements in March. Charles has missed a lot of growth and changes in the tot. But I also think he is relieved. Relieved to be rid of the drama that is Meghan. Relieved to not hear her rants and complaints. Relieved to be clear of her foul mouth and diatribes against the staff. And then there has to be a bit of regret. Regret that he didn't successfully warn his son off of marrying the actress. Regret that perhaps he didn't see that Harry's mental health was damaged to the point that he fell for the long con that Meghan orchestrated. Regret that he is subsidizing the lifestyle that will only result in his being called out as inconsiderate and at the very least unkind to the royal runaways. Now I think the main thing he must be feeling is apprehension. 2 books being released about Meghan and Harry, and inevitably the entire royal family. One that will make Meghan the victim. One that promises to deliver all of the dirt on her. The royal family can't win in either of them. Either they will be represented as evil, thoughtless, cold-hearted individuals, or they will be seen as gullible, careless and perhaps having no real concern for Harry, the spare who will never hold the throne. They can't win either way. The tornado that is Meghan has caused a lot of turmoil in that family. And it's only going to get worse. Let's see where Charles stands in August, when both books will be released. Meanwhile, as the release date creeps closer for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's new tell-all book, we see more information leaked to the media via the much ballyhooed secret sources close to the couple. But no matter what author Omid Scobie wants you to think, this book sounds like nothing more than a PR exercise orchestrated by the Hollywood royals themselves. Why? Meghan Markle is a control freak. The idea that she isn't overseeing this project is absurd. Anyone with a shred of common sense suspects that Meghan Markle is a guiding force behind this publication. She's far too much of a control freak for me to believe she'd allow someone like Mr. Scobie free rein to speak to whomever he wishes, and more importantly, to write whatever he deems fit. Nothing Meghan has done in the past would suggest she'd entertain such an approach. She's well known for her micromanaging of her brand, reputation, and even her husband. None of this fits with the approach we're being told the authors are taking here. It's worth bearing in mind that the sole purpose of this book is to rewrite history in a form that is more palatable to Meghan Markle. We've seen suggestions that she's gone down this road before if her recent claims of witnessing the Los Angeles riots are anything to go by. In a recent speech, she said, "I was 11 or 12 when I was just about to start the Immaculate Heart Middle School in the fall. It was the Los Angeles riots, which was also triggered by a senseless act of racism. And I remember the curfew, and I remember rushing back home, and on that drive home seeing ash falling from the sky, and smelling the smoke and seeing the smoke coming out of buildings and seeing people rushing out of homes carrying bags and looting. Wow, all very poignant, I am sure you'll agree. The only problem is, according to Meghan's sister, she wasn't even in Los Angeles during the riots. Her father took her to Palm Springs for 5 days to make sure she wasn't subjected to the image of rioting at such a young age. But being in Palm Springs at that time doesn't fit the narrative, so why not rewrite history to suit the agenda? I honestly believe this is what the new book is all about. I've said previously that part of the agenda behind this book is to put it out there that leaving the United Kingdom and the royal family was Prince Harry's idea. That way, when the Hollywood dream turns into a complete failure, Prince Harry will be left holding the bag. Meghan? She'll be seen as a supportive wife who only wanted to do what made her husband happy. The source that spoke to The Sun has begun laying the groundwork. The seeds of Megxit were sown before they even got married. The truth is that Harry had been deeply unhappy for a long time. And the answer to his unhappiness just happened to involve jetting off to LA to live in Hollywood, where Meghan Markle wants to be to further her career and ambition. Talk about a coincidence. And thank goodness that Prince Harry eventually met Meghan Markle, who could inspire him to leave behind his terrible life. Obviously, he didn't have the willpower to do so before he met Malibu Meg. Will the book detail how Prince Harry is unhappy in LA, and how Meghan has failed miserably to kickstart a Hollywood career she hasn't been able to make a success of for the past 20 years? Will it mention that Harry wants to try Australia next? Or that Prince Charles is covering their security bills because they seemingly don't have the finances to pay themselves? I doubt it. None of that fits with the Meghan Markle Disney princess narrative. And you? What do you think about Prince Charles and Archie? Let me know in the comment section and we talk about them. Remember to like and share my video if you feel so comfortable with it. And subscribe to new version of the Sussex Daily News channel to get more news from the royal family. Now, have a nice day and see you in the next videos.